We are Doolan and Cordelia.
And we live at the Black House in RIAS on Skye.
I'm Laura and I work at Dualchas Architects. Became involved in 2012 when Julian and Delia approached us looking for a site on Skye.
We used to holiday here and we were looking for a plot of land, and then one day we were told about this plot and we fought our way through brambles and through rhododendrons and just thought, wow, this is so beautiful.
At Dualchas we are often building in very spectacular landscapes, very sensitive landscapes. We ended up with quite a dramatic building, which is quite unusual. Actually, our buildings are quite often a bit more modest, a bit more restrained. They wanted a piece of modern architecture. I think the ideas came from the site almost entirely.
It was very hard to see where you would put a house here, but we liked the plot itself. That was enough. That sold itself to us.
Any architect presented with the opportunity to build where the shore meets the land, is very exciting. We're always thinking very carefully about scale and materials, how the building sits, how it touches the landscape. In this case, the building sits above the landscape. It doesn't sit down into the ground, but it is sunken into the rock, which is fairly unprecedented on Skye, having a two-storey building.
When they started talking about having oiled black wood and everything, we thought that sounded really great.
Which looks quite stark in some ways, but when it's in situation here, it looks like it's actually coming straight out of the rock. It looks like it's part of the land on which it's sited.
The black helps the building to bed in, but it also helps us achieve a kind of a flawless finish.
Really good at making the most of the light and also the site, the views, and orientating the house.
So I think the building is about the journey. It's about coming as you approach. You have this modest single-storey gable. You enter into quite restrained lobby space, but then you enter this double-height atrium and you're like, this is more than just a black box. But getting light in from above and light glimpses out and directional light coming in through the building has been quite successful. There are glimpses out to the trees, glimpses out to the rock, and then as you descend down into the main space, the big view, the big reveal is apparent. The proximity to the shore and that intimate relationship is the final stage of that journey.
You come in and you've got glances to the left, you've got glances to the right, looking at different aspects, and as you come in, they're all sort of quite subtle, those, but you come down here and this view is in a sense, it's not very subtle, it's pretty much there in your face, but that's what you're being brought down to.
One of the things that's struck me is how aware we are about the tides and having the sound of the sea as well. Lie in bed and hear the waves on the beach, it's lovely.
You can see their lives, there's history in what they have here. They've travelled, they have a huge collection of art and books and objects, and they said we need a lot of shelving. And I never actually believed they had as many books as they said they did.
It's our home, yeah.
It's our home. It's just a pleasure to live here and to feel less encumbered, I suppose, by some of the trappings of life that we used to have in London.
And we ended up with something really quite sculptural and geometric. It's lined, sculptural, kind of cavernous in some spaces. I think you kind of get into the belly of the building, but you're in the rock. We were building on this edge between the shore and land, tide coming and going out, and the reflections of the water on that glass all helped to emphasise that idea and play with that idea of edge and nature and the elements.